So let's talk about a best class setup for the AK-47. Now before I show you my personal favorite class setup for this weapon, we have to talk about the love-hate relationship that you're gonna build for this gun. And it's unlike any other gun in the game because when you first get it, you're gonna absolutely hate this weapon. You're gonna think it's trash, it's garbage, and that's because the recoil, in particular the vertical recoil on the AK-47 is outrageous. Now, of course, when you first unlock the weapon, it's gonna be completely naked. You're gonna have no attachments, and that's why I say it's a love-hate relationship. You're gonna try it out in a match, the vertical recoil is gonna kick your butt, and you're gonna say, never again. I'm not leveling it up. It's absolutely garbage. Get it out of my creator class. However, if you stick with it, if you unlock some of the attachments, I promise you, the recoil is much more manageable and it's really a powerful gun. And that's the number one thing it's got going against it, the vertical recoil. Now, a lot of players can control the vertical recoil with no attachments whatsoever. If you're used to pulling down on the right analog stick ever so slightly, you'll probably do well with this right off the bat. So towards the end of the leveling up cycle for the AK-47, you'll realize its true potential. Once you get those attachments on, once you control and tame the beast a little bit, you'll really like it and it'll probably be one of your favorite guns. All right, so now that we know that recoil is the number one thing we want to combat against, let's take a look at some of the attachments that can drastically reduce the recoil. So first up, this is the bare naked AK-47. Let me just show you the recoil pattern here. And again, this is pretty outrageous. So as you can see, it kind of snakes a little bit. Let's take a closer look here in a second. So as you can see, it kind of snakes to the right a bit and then back to the left and then more or less straight vertical. But that's a lot of recoil, especially at longer ranges. You'll be having to pull down on your stick just to maintain control. Look how high it bounces. So what we're looking for is the recoil control. That is the one that's gonna help reduce the recoil the most. And there's only one muzzle that does this, and that's the compensator. So here's the compensator by itself with no other attachments. Now you can see that more or less, I wouldn't say 50% reduction in the vertical recoil, but it's pretty close. If not 50, a little less than that, but it tightens it up as well. So the compensator by itself is a great attachment. Now as for barrels, there's two of them. There is the RPK barrel as well as the Romanian. So we're gonna try both of those just by themselves first. So this is the RPK barrel. So you can see this one didn't reduce it as much as the compensator, but it's a lot better than the default or the naked AK-47. More tight, but still quite vertical. Now here's the Romanian barrel. Let's see what this one does. So this one's about on par with the compensator. Again, this is the compensator, and this is the Romanian. Definitely better than the last barrel, but not by much. Now I should note that when you use the Romanian barrel, you can't use the underbarrel, but we'll talk about that more in just a minute. Now, speaking of underbarrel, there's two attachments that reduce recoil in this one, the operator and the Ranger foregrip. So first up, we're gonna try the operator foregrip. So you can see there's not much snaking with this one. It's more or less just straight up vertical. Now it still goes up quite a bit, but again, it's more or less a straight line there. Now we're gonna try the Ranger foregrip. So in my opinion, this one is a little worse. And actually I see a lot of people run this one as opposed to the one we just tested. But as you can clearly see, I would definitely favor this one over this one. So again, this is the Ranger foregrip and this is the operator foregrip. Now in the rear grip category, there's only one that affects recoil, and that's the rubberized grip tape. So here we go with the rubberized grip tape right here. Now this one's a little bizarre to me because I think it's actually worse with this one on than the default naked AK-47. So I'm not sure about this one, but when we couple it with some of these other attachments, you'll see that it does help. But by itself, that's pretty blah. So those are all the attachments by themselves, and this is what the recoil patterns look like. The best one, probably by itself, is the compensator or the Romanian barrel. But again, with this one, you can't put any underbarrel attachments on. Okay, so again, that's them by themselves, but when we couple them, that's when we see the most noticeable results. So let's take a look at those. All right, so obviously we want to find the lowest recoil possible with the least amount of attachments. And that'll free us up some attachments to use elsewhere. So first, we're going to start with the compensator, the RPK barrel, the operator foregrip, and the rubberized grip tape. All of these reduce the recoil control. All right, so here we go. Let's see what this does. So there's a little bit of snaking, but it goes pretty much straight vertical, but not as high as the default AK-47. And by the way, I forgot to add the default AK-47 recoil, so let me just put that back right here. Again, a lot of snaking left and right, and pretty high up on the vertical scale. So again, here's this one compared to the default one. So that was with all the attachments combined with the RPK barrel. Now we're gonna try the Romanian. And again, with this one, we can't put an underbarrel attachment on. So there's only going to be 3 recoil reduction attachments here. Let's see if there's a noticeable decrease in recoil. Here we go. So to me, this one is a little better. It's more tightly compacted, especially right around the middle here. So as you can see, this one's a little bit spaced out, the bullets are, and this one's a little more tighter, and it doesn't go quite as high. So I think the Romanian one is definitely the winner. But again, if you're looking for an underbarrel attachment, then you'll want to use the RPK barrel instead. However, with this Romanian, you now have 2 extra attachments to use elsewhere. So that's always nice. But let's just see if we can take one of these off and maintain that recoil. So let's take away the rubberized grip tape and just use the compensator and the Romanian and see what happens. All right, here we go. Just the Romanian and the compensator. So as you can see, it didn't change that much. Yes, this one's still a little more closely compacted right here in the middle, but this one's not that bad either. I would say if you want to free up yet another attachment, you don't really need that rubberized grip tape. Now, how about if we put back on the grip tape and then take off the compensator and just leave the Romanian and the grip tape? Let's see if that does anything. So here we go. Let's see if that compensator really does do a lot of the work here. Well, you can see that it kind of snakes to the left this time. I don't know. I definitely like the compensator on because it's more straight up vertical. But as you can see, I don't know. I mean, there is a little noticeable difference. I, for one, think the compensator is one of the best attachments, especially when you combine it like this. So it looks like I may have missed an underbarrel earlier, but the Merc foregrip reduces the recoil as well. So there's the Merc foregrip, the Operator foregrip, and the Ranger foregrip. But as you can see, all 3 of them are pretty much identical. There's not much difference in them, so it's really a toss-up of what other secondary benefits you want. For example, the Ranger foregrip also does aiming stability, whereas the Operator foregrip doesn't, and the Merc foregrip does hipfire accuracy. So if you want to hipfire, I would go with this one. If you just want a reduction to your ADS speed, go with this one. And if you want some aiming stability as well, go with the Ranger foregrip. So again, if you want the best recoil possible, the easiest to maintain, the easiest to hit long shots, your best bet is the compensator, the Romanian barrel, and the rubberized grip tape. But however, as you saw, if we take away the grip tape, there's not much change. Again, this is with the grip tape, this is without. So if you want to free up yet another attachment, you could probably take that off and you wouldn't notice that much difference. Now, if you do that, that means it only takes 2 attachments, and you could put an optic on if you wanted. You could increase your ammo count to either 40 or 75, and then you could even put a stock on. So now that we know just how all the attachments, or in particular, the recoil reducing attachments work on the AK-47, let me show you my personal setup. So like I said, I always mix the compensator with the Romanian barrel. And as I also mentioned, you don't really need the rubberized grip tape, but if you feel much more secure with that on there, you can put it on there. However, I like to go with the perk sleight of hand because the reload time is a little drastic on the AK-47. And I also like to put the skeleton stock on there because this one increases your movement speed, your ADS speed, and your aim walking movement speed. Now there's also some other great stock attachments, but it's all dependent on what you personally enjoy. I would not recommend the no stock though, because that does muck up your recoil. And last but not least, I personally like the GI Mini Reflex. Now the AK-47 has great iron sights, but for long shots in particular, I much prefer an optic sight. However, if you don't care about long shots, you're not grinding any camos or what have you, then feel free to put this one wherever you want. You don't have to use an optic. You could use a laser. You could increase the ammo count, in particular 40 or 75, or you could use another rear grip such as this one, which will also help out your ADS speed. But remember, with the Romanian barrel, you can't put an underbarrel on. So if you much prefer to use an underbarrel, then you have to swap to the RPK barrel, which again just increases your recoil just a slight amount in compared to the Romanian. But if you go this route, then you have this entire category of unique underbarrel options for you. There's tons of stuff to choose from, depending on how you want your gameplay to go. Now, one more thing to note here, to get the Romanian, which I've gone on and on about, it's a lot of grinding. You won't get this until towards the very end. I can't remember what level in particular, but this thing maxes out at level 68, and I think the Romanian is towards the end there. So chances are you'll be using this RPK barrel for most of the time until you unlock this one. So just remember that the 3 underbarrel attachments don't really have much noticeable difference here. This is the RPK barrel with all 3 underbarrel. This is the Merc, this is the foregrip, and this is the Ranger. There's not much difference at all. So just pick whichever one you want. Now again, I should mention when you're using the RPK barrel, unlike with the Romanian, the rubberized grip tape does make a difference. So have this one on there. Unfortunately, that only leaves you with 1 slot because you'll want the compensator, the Merc, and the rubberized grip tape along with the RPK. So then you can only add 1 more thing, and it's probably going to be a toss-up between a stock, such as the skeleton stock, or maybe sleight of hand, or another perk like that, or I guess an optic if you much prefer that. So obviously the route to go is the Romanian, as I showed you several times in this video, but like I said, you're going to be with the RPK for quite a while before you unlock this. So with this one, it will require a few more attachments to reduce that recoil. So again, as I mentioned in the beginning, it's a love-hate relationship. As you grind this sucker up, you're probably gonna hate it, but once you get those attachments unlocked that can drastically reduce the verticality in the recoil, you should be much better off, and you'll definitely learn to love this AK-47.